Redditors who have nearly been murdered, but talked your way out of it. What did you say to your would-be killer that saved your life? I almost got knifed in the Dominican Republic by these two kids in this tiny town, Bayahibe. They saw me walking around at night and came to my hotel with knives. I was out on the balcony in front of my room and they come up to me not saying a word, but brandishing large enough knives. So I put my hands up and real cool like reached in my pocket and handed them like $200 local currency and they ran off. The kicker is, my wife was in an unlocked room right there with like maybe $2,500 and all of our poop, and I made enough noise about it talking calmly, but loudly enough, that I heard the door lock. Thank God. My first thought was, okay they want money. My second was, what if they get in that room with my wife? That second question still lucks with me. Anyways, so this town is small, and I walked over to the police station and explained what happened, and the cops are like, oh yeah we probably know who it is. Come back tomorrow morning at 9 and we'll have you identify them. Came back at 9 and they had both of them in custody. Never did get my money back, but whatever. I'm not entirely sure how close I was to being murdered. This took place back when I worked the register at McDonald's. It was around 10. We weren't 24-hour and would be closing up soon, and in walks a guy that's drunk off his bum. He comes up to the counter and starts chatting with me about nothing in particular, mostly nonsense I can't remember, but I started to get the impression he wasn't just drunk. I'm doing my best to just humor him, waiting for him to leave when out of nowhere he says, if I was gonna kill everyone in here, I'd kill you first, because you look like you'd know what to do. A bit of a morbid joke I thought and said thanks. At this point he pulled out a gun from his waistband and pointed it at me. It wasn't like a full-on point, more like he was limply holding the gun in my general direction. I didn't know what to do and only hoped to God he was still joking. He then said bang and tucked the gun back into his waistband. I think that he just wanted to let me know that he could kill me if he wanted to. He left shortly after that. I informed my manager and was later told that man was both a regular and longtime friend of my manager who tried to downplay what had happened. I left that job shortly after for school. What the actual luck? I don't know if he wanted to murder us, but was definitely up to no good. My mom and I were just walking somewhere. I don't remember to where. I was much younger, but it was in the south of France somewhere. There was a guy who came around the corner and got in our way telling us he has a gun in his pocket, probably BS, and that we needed to give him everything to pass. My mom grew up in Paris and walked through shady parts when she was younger and knows how to react, so she just straight up told him no thanks, slapped his shoulder a little to push him out of the way, and we went by him. Give me everything you got, I have a gun. No, thanks. Not me but my dad. He was about 25 at the time, probably 35 years ago now. He lived in a bad neighborhood, and after getting a pack of 6 from a 7-Eleven, he was sitting in his car for a second and a young guy came up to his window with a gun. My dad said give me all your money or I'll kill you right here, right now. He said look, I have $30. And frankly, that lucking money is mine. You're going to have to kill me for it. Is it worth the blood of a human and most likely life in prison for $30 lucking dollars? He said the guy had this type of well whatever attitude about it. Gave him a goodbye tap on his car like he just came up to say hello and walked away. He said the guy was really casual about it. Oddly so. He didn't sleep well for a few months after that experience. One time, my mother was driving down to Tanzania with my uncle while she was pregnant with me. It was early in the afternoon, so she was extremely shocked to find a bunch of armed robbers waiting on the side of the road, like a bunch of hyenas waiting for their prey to come to them. They started waving their guns around, telling my uncle and mother to come out of the car. I believe that they had the intention to kill. However, this is where it gets interesting. The leader of that gang took one look at my mother's belly, saw that it had a bump, and simply let them go away. My mother tells me that when the leader saw that she was pregnant, his eyes filled with remorse. Maybe he had been a former father as well. Anyway, they took my uncle's wallet and bade us goodbye. To this day, I keep on telling my uncle that I saved his life. I was babysitting for my cousins, aged 5 and 3. I was 14 at the time, and the 5-year-old found his dad's handgun and was waving it around like a toy. He was pointing it at things and pretending to shoot them, not putting his finger on the trigger thankfully, and at one point he pointed it at me and pretended to be a bank robber. I told him if he handed me the gun he could go get the package of Oreos on the counter and we could have some. It actually worked, and I stuck the gun on a high shelf until my aunt and uncle came home. As it turned out, the gun was loaded. My aunt made my uncle buy a gun safe and put all the guns in the garage after that. TL, doctor, for the love of God don't leave your firearms where your young children can find them. No matter how much you tell them it's not a toy, they will still treat it like a toy. I think you technically got robbed at gunpoint for Oreos by a 5-year-old. My friend's mother was bringing in the groceries. As she was walking the bags up the stairs she turned to find a man who had snuck into the garage after her car, pointing a rifle at her. SHHHH. She said, with a finger to her lips. You have to get out of here. You're going to be in big trouble. He looked around, panicked, and ran. This is so badass. Was walking home from work at a pizza place. 2 guys approach me wielding knives. I'm wearing headphones so can't hear what they said, but I assume it had to do with them taking my poop. I throw my pizza box at the first guy, frisbee style, throw my drink at the second guy, normal style, and take off running. Didn't talk my way out except for the old luck when I realized what was happening, but still crazy. What if they were walking past you and you just randomly launched a pizza at them? They were holding knives, obviously to cut the pizza. I'm 19. First time in Europe. Started in Italy visiting relatives and first night I went out for a walk. Group of guys looking like trouble pushed me around and then showed me their knives demanding money, which I seemed to obviously have since I stood out as a foreigner by my clothes. Except all I had on me was $20 and a condom, because I was so naive from hearing how easy it was to get laid. I was expecting local girls to just see me and approach me to have sex. So I explained this to these guys in broken 1960s-Italia and gleamed from my parents. They laughed their bums off and wished me luck. Everyone knows it's bad karma to kill a virgin without preparing the ritual first.